You can only excel at something that you're good at. You can only excel at your strengths. So it's a waste of life to try to improve your weaknesses.
Hi guys, I am Prakshal and welcome to the Now podcast. In this episode, we have Amar, or popularly known as Comedy Wala Amar. Amar is a stand-up artist, an author, and a motivational speaker. He's on a mission to make this world an inspired and visibly happier place. In this episode, we talked about his journey, happiness, and his book called Happiness in Your Skin. Let's dive into it. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
So, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
How was your life in college?
Okay. So college, college the beginning? Okay, cool. I'd rather talk about, because the beginning starts with school, right? So I was not happy. So I guess my life in school, I was very shy. So I hardly spoke to anyone for the first, let's say, 12 years of my school life, nursery to 10th. I was in a school where, so I'm a Sikh by birth, and I know why did I look at him, but I'm a Sikh by birth, and I was quite shy. So I'm short in height again. I used to be the first person who used to stand in the queue in the what do you call that, assembly in the morning. And I didn't say anything. People used to make fun of me all the time, and because if you're quiet, right, then your classmates make fun of you.
Yeah.
So everybody used to make fun of me. I had no confidence to talk about anything. So and the thing is, growing up, a lot of things were vague about life. I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. I was not good at mathematics, and that made me feel bad about my life throughout my school life. Nobody told me that you're good at English. I was good at English. I was always good at English. But nobody told me that just you could be good at something and not care about the rest of the subjects, which is what which I wish somebody told me, but nobody told me that. So I felt bad about my life throughout my school life. That I was underconfident and I didn't speak to anyone. Then I went to college. Since you asked about college, I slowly started opening up, and I took BCom. I had non-medical. I took non-medical after 10th. And flunked in physics, chemistry, and maths. And so I hated it. I totally hated it because I had 80% marks in 10th. So everybody who had good scores took PCM. So I took PCM, and then I flunked. Then I'm like, dude, I can't do it. So I went to the principal and like, I have to leave. So I went to commerce after the first term of 11th. I went to commerce after, like, I was the only guy in 4 sections of science who moved to commerce after the first term, although almost half of the class failed. But like, I can't do it because I hated it. So I moved to commerce, and then I was in commerce. Then I did BCom after 12th because everybody I knew was doing BCom. So I went to Motilal Nehru College, DU. And I did BCom. I shouldn't have done BCom. I mean, frankly, looking at my school and college life, I shouldn't have done anything I did because there was no reason to do anything. You see, I mean, there's a difference between living a. You have to stop me where you want me to stop. Otherwise, my answers go very long.
No, you can speak.
Because there's a difference between living a conscious life and living a life without any consciousness, right?
That is an autopilot, right?
That's an autopilot. Is exactly. So my life was on an autopilot almost till the end of my college. I didn't even think if I was happy, because I think the society is structured around that. So society, most people do stuff because most people do stuff. You see, most people end up doing things which the majority is doing, right? So I was doing BCom because everybody's doing BCom. I tried to do non-medical because most of my friends took non-medical. So I scored first class in BCom, which means nothing at all. And then so that was my college life. It wasn't fun. I won't say it was fun. It was quite vague, and I'm not proud of it.
And you also went for post-graduation.
Yes. So I did. So after my BCom, I did a diploma in tourism. Worked for a few years, but I wanted to get an MBA. So I was trying to take the CAT exam alongside. I took the CAT exam 5 times. My first score was 9 percentile. 909.
Okay, 09.
Yes, my first score, the first time I took CAT, was my first score was 9 percentile. And then I took a job instead, kept taking CAT with the job. And then I finally got 89th percentile. And then by then I had a few years of experience. So I went to SPJ and Singapore and Dubai for my MBA.
Oh, and how was that?
The MBA was great. I enjoyed my year at the campus. My classmates were great. Some of the best students from around the country, and most of them are engineers. Like in any MBA institute, top MBA institute in the country, most of them are engineers because the entire CAT exam is based on maths. So it's all maths. It's like 80% of the exam is maths. So most of the students are engineers, and I did my MBA and I started working. So I worked for 6-7 years after my MBA. Yeah.
And you were happy at that time, like when you were doing jobs, like
I wasn't really. So when I started doing, see, the thing is, it's been a journey of one frustration after another until I realized that all of this is not coming together. It's not making sense. So after my MBA, I had a loan on me, so I started working. The job was fine, okay, and once you have an MBA, then you start, then you get good jobs if you've done an MBA from a good school. But I got laid off after in 2010 after my campus job. I got laid off. Then I went to advertising, went to research, but things were fine. So money wise, if you look at things were fine. I would have grown materialistically. But then I wasn't happy. I was like, dude, this is not what I really want to do. I was like, maybe, and thankfully, somewhere around that time, when I was on autopilot again after MBA, comedy happened. So there was a guy who used to do comedy, and he said, "Come to my open mic." So I went to the open mic, and I saw comedy for the first time 2010-11, and I was hooked. I was like, this is amazing. And I'd started writing alongside in 2010 when I was laid off. So I had 6 months, so I wrote a book. So I've written 5 books. So one of the books is coming out in a couple of months. So I started writing because I realized I started enjoying writing. And I just wrote just because I couldn't not write anymore. Because if you figure out something that you really enjoy doing, you will make the time to do it, irrespective of the fact that it's making you money or not. So because you enjoy doing something, so I enjoyed writing, I enjoyed comedy, and I made time for it with the job. So when I started, so after I was in Nielsen, then I was in another job, and so I used to go for open mics, and I used to make time to write. And then at some point I realized, okay, nothing is happening. So because of the jobs were not that easy. The jobs have their own demands. The people employ you because they buy you, right? So so every job, when somebody pays you salary, they bought your life. Okay, so that's how it is. I mean, good or for bad, if you're in a job, then they will demand your time. So they take your time, right? And I didn't get time for open mics. I didn't get time to write. So 2015 is when I quit to do comedy and writing.
And how do you define that courage? Like that is like the most people at that place. They want to quit, they want to do something, but they are not able to for whatever reason. So how do you find that courage? Like if something happened, particular instance happened, like
no. So basically, I mean, see, I wanted to do. So I realized. I figured something which probably I hadn't figured all my life. That when I was doing writing and when I was doing comedy, I was really happy. I like every time I go on stage and make people laugh, the amount of satisfaction that I get, I didn't get that kind of satisfaction before. You see, if for example, let's say you fall in love, okay, for the first time, okay, let's say fall in love for the first time and you haven't been in love before. The amount of happiness that it gives you, you haven't felt that happiness before, right? So similarly, when I started doing comedy, I realized this is amazing. I haven't felt this before. Right.
Yeah.
So that feeling was outstanding. That feeling was that was something I hadn't felt before. Like, this is amazing. Why shouldn't I be doing this? So I saw CJ at the Papa CJ, the first open mic, and I was so totally charmed. So I was like, dude, maybe I should try giving it a shot. So I think the courage came from the feeling that I really wanted to feel on a regular basis. I didn't want that feeling to come once in a month because I wouldn't get time with the job to go to open mics and maybe get better at comedy. Create content, even get better on stage, because comedy is not easy. You have to keep doing it to get better on stage. Like, I bombed forever. Like, after I quit the job, bombed for over a year totally. Like nothing worked.
And how did you deal with that? Like you had a good job, good paying job,
Yeah.
and then nothing was working. Although you were like getting that happiness, but still,
Yeah.
things are not working maybe materialistically.
Yeah.
So how
that's
did you
true.
manage that?
So I do a bunch of when I quit my job, so you have to ensure, like, so this is an important message, because in case whoever listens to this, is that money is important. Money plays a role in our lives, okay? And no matter what people say about, so there are two problems. There are two ways you can look at money. One is, a materialistic society is a wrong society. Okay, to chase money as a goal or a destination is incorrect. To chase money as a goal or a destination is incorrect, because money is not the destination for life. So that is incorrect. However, we need money to ensure that we
Survive,
carry
to
on
live,
whatever we're
yeah.
doing. So money is like fuel in a car, and if you don't have fuel, you can't go on. But money is not the destination. So when I quit my job, I started doing freelancing. So I do freelance market research, which I used to do in a full time job. So I work with different companies as a freelancer. So that brings in some money. Then I wrote, so I've written a bunch of, I've written blogs, I've written copy, I've written movie script. So I've written a bunch of things, which I do a bunch of things along comedy. So even comedy started paying me now over the last 2-3 years. And so I do a bunch of things which bring in money so that I pay the bills.
Yeah, that's so.
You have to have money to ensure that your expenses are taken care of.
It's like means to an end. It's not
It's
the
a
end.
means, yes,
Yeah,
exactly. So money is means to an end.
Yeah.
Your end may be whatever. You want to be an artist, you want to be a writer, you want to be whatever you're trying to be. Your money is the means to an end. So without the means, you can't reach the end.
So what is your advice to the people like who are dealing with the same situations, that too much uncertainty? These things are like too much uncertain, and that period is like the most difficult one.
Yeah.
When you just started something out,
Yeah.
and you have to, like, most of the people are not believing in you. You don't have the money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But that is like a phase. And so what is your advice to, like, especially young people who are in that crossroads maybe?
Yeah. See, the thing is, as I said, the thing is that you have to ensure. It's one thing is there, that your family is important, right? And sometimes what will happen is that your family will not agree with you, especially in these kind of decisions, because your parents want you to be happy also. But maybe their understanding of your happiness is different from your understanding of your happiness. And you are the only person who really understands your happiness, right? So you may try to convince them that this is how you feel happy, right? So getting your family's buy-in in your decision is very important. Now, in case you can't get their buy-in, in case they don't agree with you, even then you have to go ahead with it, right? You go ahead with it. But so you ensure that you stay financially liquid. Okay, whatever you do, uh, maybe, for example, if you're trying to pursue your passion, then do something else which brings in money in the meanwhile, so that you don't have to depend on your family. For example, let's say my mom, her top concern all these years has been that if I'm getting work to take care of my expenses. So all these years I haven't had to borrow money from anywhere, because I worked hard enough to kind of like do different kinds of work, so that I've taken care of my expenses. So, and while trying to ensure that
Build
my passion
something.
grows as well. So it's a balance between staying financially liquid and trying to pursue your passion, because your passion is your goal. That is the eventual destination. You want to reach a point where your passion pays all your bills. That's the goal in life. That's the only definition of success I have. Success is when you're doing something which you love and it pays off everything that you want to buy. That's success. This is the only definition of success. Everything else is bullshit. So that's the point you want to reach, and to reach that point, you have to do certain things to ensure that you have the money to pay all your expenses in the meanwhile.
All right. So I want to talk about purpose, like how important it is, and what is your purpose. Like, you are doing stand up, you're making people laugh, and you talked about happiness a lot. Your book is coming. So talk to me about purpose.
So purpose, I have a purpose statement which I've figured in the last year, I guess. So I keep reviewing it. So my purpose is to make the world a visibly inspired and happy place. That's my purpose. No, anybody can have their own purpose statement. So this makes sense to me, because there are two things I'm trying to do. So when I do comedy, I'm trying to make people visibly happy. So I see them happy in front of me. Like I crack a joke, somebody's laughing. It's clear, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I made that guy happy. So it's amazing. It feels brilliant. And then visible inspiration. So when I say visible inspiration, I want to really touch people so deeply that they feel inspired about their lives. They like, for example, this discussion I'm doing. If somebody hears it, I want them to feel that who I want them to understand themselves, so that they do something which makes them believe that life has meaning, right? Like we were discussing earlier, that people commit suicide, right? A lot of people who have money commit suicide, and that's sad. That is a very sad state of society. That tells us there's something really wrong with the society, right? That even if you have all the money in the or all the success in the world, so to say, then obviously there's something missing somewhere. So I want to inspire people to do things that they find meaningful. Everybody has something that they find meaningful. To them, meditation may be meaningful. To somebody, painting may be meaningful. To somebody, poetry may be meaningful. To somebody, just traveling may be meaningful. A lot of people are traveling these days, trying to inspire other people to travel as well. They find that meaningful. So you may find something meaningful. For example, I don't know what may be a meaningful activity for you, which you really enjoy doing. Like whatever you can't do. For example, there's something obsessed. We need to find activities that we are obsessed about. For example, let's say I go on a holiday. If I go on holidays now, and it's beyond like 3 4 5 days, I start missing writing and stage. I start missing writing on stage. I want to come back. I get bored on too long vacations. Because I carry my laptop if it's too long a vacation, and hopefully try to write, because I can't not write. I can't not hit the stage for a longer period of time. I get bored. So these are two activities which I figured that I can't not do. So I think these are the two things. So purpose is about finding. So if somebody were to try to understand their purpose, I would tell them to understand who they are, right? Because your purpose is to understand who you are, and trying to figure out how to create a life around that.
So is that a process, like finding that purpose and like finding that meaningful work?
Yeah, I think it's a process. It's not a process, maybe a trial and error process. For example, if you look at your childhood, I'm sure there were some activities that you enjoy doing, right? Not just maybe there's a subject that you enjoy. Maybe you love maths, right? If you love maths, then you could become a mathematics professor, or maybe pursue maths to a level which makes you feel amazing. Like for example, if you enjoy maths, maybe you want to delve in it so much that the time just flies by, right? So it's a process. So everybody can understand their purpose by looking at their lives and look and trying to. I'll give you an example. This is an example I've given in my book. So writing is something I enjoy doing. So I was in 6th or 7th standard, and I was quite shy in school, and 7th standard, I guess. And there was an essay writing competition uh, between 7 to 12 classes. Okay, 7 to 12 there was an essay writing competition. The topic was "Where's the will, there's the way," and I had no idea. So I wrote whatever I wrote, and everybody wrote. It was on the spot. So they just like in the morning, fine, write. And all my classmates were discussing. We wrote this, and I didn't say anything because I totally had no idea that I won. Like I won that competition. Like I had no expect. I totally didn't expect, and frankly I won it. And then nobody in my school or at my home told me this is amazing. This is a moment of brilliance. Now look at that moment at my life as a moment of brilliance. Like that moment should have told everybody around me that maybe I'm supposed to write. Maybe I'm supposed to focus on English. Maybe I'm supposed to focus on writing. Because out of nowhere, like an average student who nobody notices suddenly wins a competition. Like that was a moment of brilliance in my life which everybody ignored. Like nobody told me after that, this is amazing. You should write. You should focus on English. Forget maths. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do this. That was a moment of brilliance. Because if I had identified my moment of brilliance, if anybody had cared, maybe I mean I'm 38 now, right? I started doing all this 4 years back. Maybe I mean I would have been a writer way earlier. Maybe I didn't have to do an MBA or whatever. Basically, because earlier you decide what your purpose is and what you're really good at, the better it is. I mean, the more
time you get,
the more time you get to pursue it, because all of us are going to eventually die, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm an immortal. I have a tattoo that says immortal. But the thing is, I know eventually this bullshit that eventually they're going to burn me with this tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm going to know that. So they're going to burn me with this tattoo. So eventually all of us are going to die. So the earlier that we figure who we really are and what we really want to do with our lives. So that was one moment in my life. I think everybody, if you look at your life, or anybody, all of these guys, anybody looks at their lives, I'm sure there are those moments of brilliance where you outperformed everyone, right? And you're like, this is amazing. Maybe that's something you should be doing. So I mean, that's what it is. It's an alignment between who you are naturally, right? Like for example, I think it's natural. For example, I'm not naturally good at maths. I'm not, and I never really enjoyed maths. I've been naturally good at writing. I really enjoyed it. It's a natural process. Like we design like that. Like they say, fish can't climb a tree. I was writing that stuff, and whatever, frogs can't fly, whatever it is. So basically, they can't fly, right? You can't make them fly, or fish can't climb a tree. It's a natural thing.
Yeah.
And the process is when we try to make people feel that you can do something that you're not good at. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. In schools, in colleges, in offices, I've seen this attitude that work on your weaknesses. That's bullshit. Nobody should work on their weaknesses. It's a waste of life. Because no matter how much you work on a weakness, you cannot excel at it. You can only excel at something that you're good at. You can only excel at your strengths. So it's a waste of life to try to improve your weaknesses. At the best, if you work at something that you're not good at, you will become average at it. Because you wasted so much time to become good at something you're not naturally good at, you'll become average at it. But if you do something that you really, really enjoy doing, you can excel at it.
And then the thing you're good at, maybe that got lost in the process.
That gets lost. Because if you kind of like waste your time doing what you're not good at, then obviously your strengths are getting wasted. You lose what you're good at also. That's a waste of life.
So you've talked once about surviving and living, that animals survive, we are here to live.
Yeah.
So, and like I resonate with this so much. Like people are like in travel, in metro, in traffic, everyone is like so much, there's so much carrying so much restlessness on their face. And so talk to me about that, living and surviving.
So see, basically if you look at animals, right? Look at dogs, for example. A stray dog has nothing to do the whole day. Okay, a stray dog is basically trying to find food the whole day. Okay, animals in the jungle, all they're doing is they're trying to find food. Okay, they find food, they mate, and they sleep. That's all. But they can't really experience happiness, right? Because their lives, the day in day out, is all about just existing. They are existing. They can't think and find happiness. We are supposed to live because we are because like who said it? Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of Aristotle. Happiness is the meaning. I quote this all over the place. I quoted it in my books maybe 2-3 times. But happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. That's the purpose of life, right? Now, animals cannot experience that. We have the ability to do that, and we have the ability to do that. We can understand our emotions. We can understand how we're feeling at a certain point in time. You can understand how you're feeling right now, or anybody who's doing whatever in a relationship at office can understand what they're doing at a certain point in time. So we have the ability to live, and we only live when we really have.
So it is kind of our responsibility, like to respect that evolvedness. We have evolved from being an animal.
We this is evolutionary.
Yeah, so we have to like respect that.
We have to respect that. The problem is this: most of the society is in misery. Most of the people don't really,
and even being like the most comfortable generation ever on the planet, we're like the most suffering. So
exactly. So basically, a lot of people, because everybody is miserable, people don't really try to figure out who they really are. They just do what everybody's doing because the society respects materialistic success. That's the problem. If the society respects materialistic success, then then your parents tell you to buy a bigger car or just make more money at the cost of how you feel inside of you. That's bullshit. You can't just like let money fill in the void that's there inside of you. Money can't fill it. Money can't fill the void of unhappiness or misery. It has to be meaning. Meaning can fill it. Meaning is what you really. Meaning is trying to connect who you are with what you do. That's the alignment.
So your book is coming up. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
That is called Happiness in Your Skin.
Yes.
So talk to me about that and what is in that.
Yeah. So happiness is in skin is about it's about inner happiness. It's about inner happiness because when you're happy in your skin doesn't lie, right? When you're happy, you have goosebumps. Goosebumps are a weird phenomena. They just come out of their own, right? Like your skin, your hair just stand and you have goosebumps. Like when you're feeling eccentric emotions, you're feeling so happy that it just happens, right? So your skin doesn't lie. So my book is about the idea of inner happiness. I'm talking about happiness from different perspectives. I'm talking about strengths. I'm talking about not comparing yourself with other people. Uh, so it's about everything that you should be doing to be happy inside. It's not about success. In fact, we've got a chapter that says, "Don't be successful."
My last question.
Okay.
How do you define success and failures?
Okay. So, like I said, success is I. So success. So success is happiness inside of you. That's success. Now, materialistic success means nothing. Now, if you're happy inside of you today, on a day-to-day basis, you are successful. It doesn't matter what people think of you. If you have a big car or whatever, society thinks whatever you achieved in life, but you don't feel happy inside is bullshit. I mean, it's great to have money in the world and also feel happiness inside and be able to contribute to society. But success is happiness inside of you. That's success. And failure is giving up on your dreams. So once you've figured who you are and who should really be in life, and you have dreams, right? You want to be that person. You want to be that person who, because all of us should have. I mean, at some point we would want to be. Okay, this is the guy I want to be, right? So I want to be a writer and a comedian, and I want to inspire people, and I want to make people happy through my comedy. So those are the things I want to do. If I give up on this, I'll be a failure. I shouldn't. I mean, there shouldn't be a point where I should give up on this because it's taken me so much life to reach a point where I really know what my dreams are. Failure is giving up on your dreams.